So today I want to talk about how I use copy and paste to make myself a better writer. And by the way, it's not plagiarism. So here's what I do. First of all, I would never advocate that you steal anyone else's work. That's wrong. Don't do that. This is simply a writing method, a technique to get better as a writer. That's why I added this disclaimer to my Medium article after several commenters suggested that this process could trigger someone into like a slippery slope of plagiarism. And I definitely don't want that at all. There is a risk for anyone who uses this method, but as long as you don't publish what you write from this training, this practice session, then you should be fine. Don't steal anybody else's work. Don't copy and paste and publish. Just copy and paste and learn. All right, here's the method. The method is actually pretty simple. It's just about reverse engineering popular content. There's a bit more to it, but basically what you do is you find a page or a couple paragraphs of fiction or nonfiction, works for both, and you manually type it or by hand rewrite it word by word and punctuation by punctuation. So you manually rewrite the content from one of your favorite authors, and what I discovered happened is that you start to think like the original writer, whether that's Stephen King, whether that's Daniel Still, whether that's your favorite blogger, or even lyricist and artist. You start to understand why the author chose certain words, why they structured the sentence the way they did, why they placed the grammar in the positions that they did, why they made their choices for how to write the sentences and the paragraphs. So you start to get inside their brains and how they constructed this wonderful piece of writing that you love. It's easy to overlook how much insight you can actually gain from this process. It's so simple, anybody can do it. In fact, anytime somebody asks me how to get better as a writer, this is one of the practice exercises that I suggest. You just take your favorite piece of writing, a small piece of it, and you manually rewrite it. And then you think about what you learned. Here is how it makes you a better writer. One, copy and paste process, it slows you down so that you can learn and absorb the different writing lessons. You put yourself in the mind and the shoes of the original author, and you get a feel for their tone, their style, and their literary choices, their narrative choices. And when you do this over and over again, you start to train yourself to make better writing choices yourself. Now, just because you're manually rewriting somebody else's work doesn't mean that you would make the same choices that they did. In fact, I heard this a long time ago, and it's been true for me. Once I started to read writing and think about the choices that the author made and think about choices that I would have made to potentially make a better fiction scene in a novel or just a better paragraph in a nonfiction book or blog post, that's when I realized that this copy and paste method really works. It doesn't just teach you to write like another writer. That's how it starts, but eventually it teaches you to make better writing choices. So it's a tedious process. That comes with a fair warning. It's tedious. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort, but I think it's definitely worth it. Here's how you do it. There's 4 steps. You choose the content to copy and paste. You copy the text word by word slowly. You reflect on the writing decisions of the author, and then you experiment. You experiment with changing up the structure of the sentences, changing up the word choice, changing up the characters in the story, or just how the nonfiction information is on the page. Maybe you would add a case study. Maybe you would shorten a sentence or make one even longer. You experiment. So, to get the most out of this exercise, I think it's important to choose a passage that's not too long. So, I wouldn't want you to go over a page of writing. And when you start, you might want to just focus on 1 to 3 paragraphs. Now, where can you find that content? Pretty much anywhere. Websites, news outlets, Amazon. Look inside the cover sections, a Kindle, YouTube video descriptions, blog posts like this one, your bookshelf, the old library in town. Once you've chosen your passage, just get somewhere, preferably quiet, and sit down with a pen and paper or open up a blank document on your computer, your notes app on your phone, and you simply start copying out the text word for word. And as you do this, and as you copy the text, think about each word. Think about how each sentence is constructed and how everything fits together. And like I said at the end, just experiment with changing some things up and see how it changes the tone and your response to the whole writing. Here in this article, I give a copy and paste example from a blog post and how I might read this section and then write down some of my thoughts that I might take away from the copy and paste method. And I go through that. You can read the article on Medium if you want to. I'll put a link in the description with that example. So here are some takeaways and some tips for this process. Start with 300 words or less. Write slowly and thoughtfully, not in so much of a rush or a hurry, because the learning happens when you do this manually and slowly. As you write, or after you write, ask yourself questions like, why did the author do this here? Why did he or she pick this word instead of another one? A lot of times there are very strategic choices. Why did they use this transition phrase? Why did they include this detail and leave these other details out? Ask yourself those kinds of questions and then experiment. And finally, write down what you've learned, especially patterns that you've picked up in the writing. And as you do this process over and over again, patterns that you've picked up from different authors and different types of writing. And I really believe that with a little practice that you'll find this copy and paste method is a really cool tool for honing your writing. Since this is a Medium article, I'm going to check out some of the comments. Somebody says, Sharon says, excellent. I actually use this while homeschooling my kids. We called it copy work. And some of the great writers use this method to learn as well. So that's really cool. And Justin says, I imagine this can do wonders for developing your own tone of voice. I totally agree. Yeah, you want to change things up. Interesting article. Thanks, Alan. And Natalie or Preeti makes a great point. Someone for whom English language is not their main language, is not their first language, this can be a great way to improve their writing skills and actually their vocabulary skills and just English skills as well. And then for kinesthetic learners, people who learn by doing, this can really help sink things in. That's all for this video, guys. If you liked the information in the video, please like the video itself. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos about writing. I cover all kinds of topics on this channel related to writing and blogging. And on Medium, I have a whole list of write and make money articles. I'll probably be going through some of these in some future videos, so make sure you subscribe, like this video, leave me a comment if you tried the copy and paste method, or just let me know what you think about the copy and paste method. If you think it'll work for you or not, let me know. And another video will be coming up on the screen right now that I think you'll really like, and I'll see you in that video.